for Shalom Aleichem are on page 36, back of the book. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Bimelech, Malachei HaMalachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Boachem Leshalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Bimelech, Malachei HaMalachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Baruchuni Leshalom, Baruchuni Leshalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Bimelech, Malachei HaMalachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzedchem Leshalom, Tzedchem Leshalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Bimelech, Malachei HaMalachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Hi, hi, hi. Hi, 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 HaKadosh Baruch Hu, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Two more times. HaKadosh Baruch Hu. All right, turn all the way back to page 2. Go ahead and stick your finger in the book as a little bookmark. Good Shabbos. Good evening, everybody. Wow, it's really, really nice to see so many beautiful people. For how many people is this your first time at Mishkan joining us for Shabbat? You get applause! You get applause! Yes, welcome! Woo. We're so happy you're here. I imagine many of you are here because we've got a very special guest tonight who is Jeremy Ben-Ami, sitting right behind me, the founder and president of J Street, about which you will hear later. In the meantime, I actually want to just invite everybody to exhale the Cubs traffic, to exhale the week of Passover, which I'm actually really sad is over. I know for many people, Passover is just like one night of Seder, or maybe 2 nights, but for me this year, it was 8 days of not eating anything leavened while on vacation, which included Adira's birthday, by the way. She was so strong because her birthday was over Passover, and she did not eat cake, and she did not complain. It was a major sacrifice, you guys. She ate ice cream instead. But I actually, did anybody do this year? Not eat leavened things for a full week? And this is not to shame anybody, but just to say, for 1 week, to make a conscious choice to live differently, if you're a person who's used to eating gluten, as I am, to make a conscious choice to live differently, to every time I put something in my mouth or, get coffee and have the instinct to buy a muffin and wait, no, it's Passover. That there's a muscle that you flex when you make a decision to do something differently, than you would ordinarily. And then you remember, why do I do this? Oh, because the Lord liberated my people from the land of Egypt with a mighty hand and an outstretched arm, and it is on me to remember this every day of the week of Passover. Right, yeah. But also just the practice of living mindfully for a week, with extra mindfulness for the week, I found to be really, really powerful. Because if you can change your mind about, a muffin, you can change your mind about the way you show up in a relationship. You could change your mind about the way that you participate in democracy. You could change your mind about a lot of things, right? It's like that, from the microcosm to the macro realization that, if all of us were to change our minds in the same direction, in the direction of peace, maybe that would be possible. So that's Passover. Passover is like this Jewish instinct of mindfulness on steroids, because the truth is Shabbat is this every week. Every week when we walk in here on Shabbos and we say, I want to invite you to take a deep breath and exhale. I want to invite you to put away your cell phone, put it on silent, or maybe even just turn it off, but to do something differently for 24 hours, 25 hours, to live differently, to live me'en olam haba, like a little taste of the world to come, like it could be. Like the way that you would smile at strangers if you felt like it was okay to smile at strangers. The way you might sing if you felt like nobody was judging you. The way you might try new things or try on new ideas on Shabbat, in conversation, in safe spaces, to be wrong and to try out new concepts that might actually be challenging, but that might actually change the world. I want to invite you to just take a look around the room and smile at this room full of people you know and people you don't know, and look at them like we live in the world to come, like the way that we would look at people if we weren't worried that they would judge us for being too friendly. Good Shabbos. Good Shabbos. So let's take a moment now to just breathe in. Close your eyes if you feel comfortable doing that. And let your shoulders relax. And exhale. Exhale the week that's been, whatever this week has looked like for you, or felt like. Wherever your travels took you. And just take a few breaths out, which I suppose requires taking the breaths in on the front end, but then really exhale. And let's try in here tonight to access a little bit of the world to come. We're on page 2. You can just join us in singing. There are more words, but if you like this one, you can just find your voice in it. 40 shana kol kedor. Join me. Va'omar am to'el v'apam v'hem lo yadu d'rachai asher nishbati be'api im yavon al menuchati. I'm going to make our way through Kabbalat Shabbat sort of out loud and quietly. As you read down the different psalms, there are 7 of them in total, one for each day of the week. You can let your mind go back to last Shabbat, and then last Sunday, Monday, and think of maybe one thing from each day if you can actually recall. Use the space to recall the week, and like one thing you want to hold on to. And if you can't think of one thing you want to hold on to, maybe one thing you want to let go of from the week as we move our way through these Psalms. Top of 4. Lifnei Adonai kiva lishbot haaretz. Hello, yishbot tevel v'tzedek ve'amim ve'emunato. Adonai malach tagel haaretz yismechu im rabim anan v'rafel svivav tzedek u'mishpat machon kiso. We're at the top of 5. Wurzaru ala tzadik u'liyishrei lev simcha. Simchu tzadikim b'Adonai ve'hodu lezecher kodsho. Mizmor shu l'Adonai sher chadash ki niflaot asa she'elo yamino uzro kodsho. Lifnei Adonai kiva lishpot haaretz yishpot tevel b'tzedek ve'amim b'mesharim. And invite us to turn all the way to the page 7 to the bottom. Ana B'Koach sort of imitates that microcosm to macrocosm. We come into Friday night services often feeling entirely all knotted up. And so we ask that the Holy One help us loosen, help us get untied, become a little freer. But that's also our prayer for the world. So we hold both.
gosh, if there's an empty seat next to you, raise your hand. Yes.
These are all empty seats. Welcome. Come on in.
We're on page 8. Lecha dodi, mirakala, b'nei Shabbat, nekavla, chaloti, mirakala, b'nei Shabbat, nekavla, shamor v'zachor, v'dibur echad, ishmiyanu el ha'yokal. This tune that Joey Weissenberg wrote, he wrote with the intention of putting these very words, Yamin usmol tifrotzi, you will spread out to the left and to the right. He named this nigun we're going to do Lincoln's Nigun because he had recently read about Lincoln walking between his troops, looking to the left and to the right, knowing that he was trying to do something unprecedented in America, which was fight a war to end slavery. And that he looked to his left and to his right, believing with everything he had that it was a cause worth fighting for. And then he set this tune that we're going to sing in a moment, to Lecha Dodi. Then you will break free of all your constraints, spreading to the left and to the right, and redemption will arise.
Yamin usmol tifrotzi veit Adonai taritzi.
You can all join. Al yadish ve'katzi ve'nismecha ve'nagila l'olecha dodi
I want to invite everybody to stand, and you know what? Go ahead and open the door. People who are standing there to the door, go ahead and open the doors. And the custom is for us to face the doors we walk in, and we say the words, Boi b'shalom, come in peace. Gam b'simcha u'b'tzohala, in joy and in song and in faith, like we're dancing at a wedding. So I just want to ask you to take a moment to be curious about what you want to invite into this room, what sensation or what you want to embody, what you're hoping to carry with you from this Shabbat out of here tonight. And so what you need to invite in order to receive it. Is it openness? Is it gentleness? Is it curiosity? Softness, gentleness. Take a moment to invite it in. B'shalom, in peace. Boi b'shalom, ateret bala, gam b'simcha u'b'tzola, toch emunei, am segula.
this week, we buried and sat Shiva for a member of our community who died really much too young. And her mom, Judy, is a regular in Mishkan Spaces and is not here right now, but I'm thinking about her as we say these words, which we always say at the bottom of 9, recognizing that there might be someone in our midst, who had a recent loss, a recent devastating loss. And I wonder, before we say these words, if there's anybody else in this room who's lost somebody this week, just in this past week. We've all been lucky. And Janet Murphy.
Louise Neuhaus.
So I'm thinking about Judy Kaplan and Seth and their whole family. We offer these words at the bottom of 9. If you are somebody who just said a name, you can actually just listen and receive. And everybody else, we say, Hamakom Yenachem Etchem B'toch Sha'ar Avlei Tzion B'Yerushalayim. May God provide you consolation with all the other mourners of Zion and Jerusalem, all the other mourners of our people and all people. And we'll have time for Kaddish later, but Kabbalat Shabbat is always so joyful. And it's important in the midst of the joy to recognize that there are folks in this room who are suffering real losses. So we send you a lot of love. And we're going to sit. It's always a strange moment because the transition is right into Mizmor Shir LeYom HaShabbat. It is good to give thanks to God, to sing to your name, Most High. This is the moment we pass the mic for gratitude. And so what I want to suggest, actually, is that you turn to the person sitting next to you, who you did not come here with, not the person sitting next to you who you did come here with, but actually the other person, and to introduce yourself and say hello and good Shabbos and one thing that you are feeling grateful for this evening. Just even one thing. All right, go.
No, I'm from West Bloomfield, Detroit area, but she teaches over at the university there.
and just now. Hallelujah. We're on page 10. Hallelujah. We just talked about our gratitude. Now we get to sing about it. Could just sing hallelujah, just like that. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Or if you could join me on the words, Maganu, Maasefaya, Le'odam Page 11, bottom of the second stanza. Lehagid ki yashar Adonai tzuri velo avatabo. Kolot mayim rabim, adirim nishpereyam, adir b'marom Adonai, idotecha nemnu meod, leveitcha nava kodesh, Adonai leorech yamim. Good Shabbos, everybody. It's our custom to greet new people, and so we have to know who you are. And so it would be so wonderful if you said you were new here earlier, or if you weren't here for that moment before, but you are, if you would rise, and we're going to pass a mic around, and you can actually tell us from whence you come and what brought you tonight, or who brought you tonight. Like what neighborhood you live in and what brought you tonight, or who brought you tonight. Okay, 1, 2, 3, rise. Not everybody, just the new folks. Truly, yay, yay, we love you.
Okay, no pressure.
No pressure, but actually no pressure.
Yeah, sure.
People much
I
less
don't have to sing
eloquent than you have introduced themselves here before, Karen.
Big expectations. I'm Karen Isaacson. It's really nice to be here. I'm a Beth Emmet person. Sorry.
That's okay. There are a lot of you here.
Yes. But I have heard about Mishkan for such a long time, and I'm really delighted to be here. I'm here especially because Jeremy is here, and I'm a J Street person, and I take every opportunity to learn more about what's going on in the world.
I'm Rochelle Davis, and I'm in Evanston, and I'm part of J Street.
I'm Ken Rowling. I'm married to Rochelle and also from Evanston, and I'm here because Rochelle invited me to come.
Beautiful.
And I'm happy to be here.
Glad you are. Yes.
Hello, I'm Bella. I live in Hyde Park. I go to Chicago. And I'm here because my aunt brought me, Aunt Elisa.
Lisa.
Hi, I'm Rebecca. I'm from California, and I'm visiting my dear friend Maddie.
Love.
So I'm just here for the weekend.
Love, love, love.
Hi, I'm Sam. I came from Lincoln Park today, and I'm here because my friend Francis brought me.
Love. Welcome, Sam. You go pass it this way and then back that way.
I'm Sivan. I'm living in Brooklyn these days, and I'm here visiting my friend Emma. And I'm so excited to be here. It's so nice to watch her sing.
Yay.
Yeah.
It is nice.
I'm Rick, and this is Mary Schuster, and we're here for two reasons. My family are members of Mishkan right here, and we're also very big supporters for J Street.
Oh, that worked out well.
Didn't it, though?
Hi. Yeah, all right. You can do it. Rich Amond from Highland Park, Illinois, here for, I think that's two reasons. One, obviously, hear Jeremy speak, which I hope everybody finds interesting. And I happen to be on the board of JCUA, so half the other board is from JCUA.
JCUA, J Street, all the J organizations.
Hi, I'm David Narevsky. I'm here with my wife, Linda Goodman. We're Temple Shalom congregants. We live in Lincoln Park, and we are here for the J Street activities.
Beautiful.
Hi, my name is Lisa. I live in Uptown, and I'm here because I had heard about Mishkan and just wanted to check it out.
Perfect. Great. Welcome.
Hi, David and Margot. We live here in East Lakeview. We are congregants at On Shamit and here for Jeremy.
Hi, I was hoping it was going to go this way first and then second. I'm Lisa, and I'm here as a guest of Jonathan and Diane. And so we are from Orland Park, and we're glad to be here.
I'm Mario, Lisa's husband. And we were invited by our friends Jonathan and Diane, and we're happy to be here to learn all about this community.
Welcome. So glad you're here. All right. Anybody who is shy and now feels the the strength to introduce yourself.
Oh, we're the last ones?
You did a great job wrapping up. You did. Yeah, sure, send it back. Hello to everybody. I should have introduced myself at the beginning. I'm Rabbi Lizzie Heidemann. This is Rabbi Stephen Philp, and you're at Mishkan, Chicago. And we're so glad that you are here. Do you want to share with the folks what is happening in our community?
We do more than this, although we will be doing this again next Saturday morning. We alternate Shabbat services Friday and Saturday. So if you want to come hang out with us again, we'd love to see you at CJDS next Saturday morning. You also might have gotten a sheet when you walked in. It's hidden somewhere in your Siddur, perhaps. We have more out there if you did not get one. But just highlight some of our upcoming programs. Rabbi Lizzie's going to be teaching a class on practical Kabbalah beginning in a few weeks during the day on Thursdays. And also, this is kind of in the distance, but we are anticipating Shavuot now that we are counting the Omer day by day between Passover and Shavuot, which means that it is coming in about 6 weeks' time. Did I do that math right? Yeah, right? Yeah. Yeah, something like that. And so you can join us again. We're going to have a special guest, Roger Kamenetz, who wrote The Jew and the Lotus, a book that some of you might have read before, who will be talking about Revelation, Sinai, and how it unfolds in our daily life, dreams, and imagination. And then also in June, this is a bit of an anticipation, but knowing that this is a crowd engaged around issues concerning the state of Israel, Israelis and Palestinians, I help run a group where we process our thoughts and feelings about what's happening over there called the Heart of Many Rooms. I'd love to see any and all of you there. Other stuff happening. We have an adult Bar Mitzvah cohort launching this coming week, which is super exciting. It is not too late to sign up if you too want to, I don't know, think about what it means to be a responsible Jewish adult and maybe gain some skills to read Torah at a service in August. It'll be a really good time, a good celebration. Tons of small groups and support groups in our community through Maggie's Place. Some new small groups and support groups just I want to highlight really quick. One is a new dads group. If you're a new dad and want to hang out with other new dads, they're starting this Sunday, I think. And then also one of our Maggie's Place groups that I'd love to highlight is our anticipatory grief group. If you are caring for a loved one who's in decline or anticipating their death, this is a group of people who are gathering to support each other in that process. Anything else? Oh, this weekend, tomorrow, we have a bunch of people in our community and our staff who are putting on an amazing play of Holocaust poetry called Concentration, which is happening, I think at 7 p.m. at the Ruth Page. Thank you. I got the first one. There are still tickets available, and you can hang out with me afterwards. We're doing a talk back with the writer and the director. And you'll recognize a lot of familiar faces from the Mishkan staff who are participating in this production. There's so much more. Sign up for our newsletter or scan the QR code out there or ask one of us. I don't know. We know some stuff. Anything else?
No,
Should we dive
I
in?
think we're going to dive in Mariv, and then Jeremy and I are going to have a conversation.
Beautiful. I'm going to invite folks to stand as you're able. We turn to page 13 in your Siddur, in your prayer book, and we face east, which is that away. Baruch hu et Adonai hamevorach.
Baruch Adonai hamevorach leolam va'ed.
Baruch hamevorach leolam va'ed. Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech
You can take a seat.
Asher b'chokhmat ha'shirim u'b'nashim u'chimazim Sabrayam v'layla U'maver yom v'in layla U'mavdil ben yom v'in layla Adonai tzavot shemo El chai v'kayam Tamid yimloch aleinu le'olam va'ed Baruch atah Adonai Hamariv aravim Ahavat
Page
olam Beit Yisrael
14.
chavta Torah mitzvot mishpatim Ki hem chayenu ve'orech yameinu uvehem negei umam v'layla ve'avatcha al tasir mimenu l'olamim Baruch atah Adonai ohev amo Yisrael. We cover our eyes, take a deep, deep breath for each word of the Shema.
15.
Shema. Page 15. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך ושנתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך וביתך ובלתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך ובשרתם להיות על ידיך והיו תותפות בעיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך. We weave our way through the next two pages, 16 and 17.
עבדו בכל לבבכם ובכל נפשכם ותעבו ותעצכם איתו יורה מקוש Keep these words of mine in your mind and in your soul. Tie them on your hand as a reminder between your eyes. Teach them to your children, speaking them in your ear home when you lie down and when you rise up. On your gates, that you and your children will flourish on the land that God promised our ancestors, as the many days of the heaven remain upon the earth. Bottom of 17.
Ani Adonai Lachem Emet. We're on page 18. And we find our way to the bottom of the page. Umalchuto Barutzon Kiblu Lehem Moshe U'Miriam Bnei Yisrael Lechanu Shira Besimcha Rabba V'Amru Chulam Mi Chamocha Ba'elim Adonai Mi Chamocha Nedar BaKodesh Nora Tehilot Malchutecha Ruvanecha Bokeyam Lifnei Moshe Ze Elianu Ve'amru Adonai Yimloch Leolam Va'ed V'ne'ema Kifadadna Yaakov Ugolom Yad Chazak Mimenu Baruch Ata Adonai Gal Yisrael. So as Rabbi Lizzie just mentioned, at the beginning of the service, we're done with Passover. Passover's behind us. And so in the cycle of our holidays, we find ourselves in the moment right after the Exodus. As I said, in a few weeks, we anticipate receiving Torah at Sinai with Shavuot. But if you look at where we are in the slow walk between the two, we're in that moment right after the Exodus. And we just retold this story, some of us, just a week ago. The conflict between Moses and Pharaoh, the 10 plagues, fleeing Egypt with only enough time to grab the dough before it could rise and whatever we could grab for our belongings to put on our backs. We find ourselves at the sea between the Egyptian army and an impassable water in front of us, and suddenly it splits and we walk through on dry land. We find ourselves on the other side, and maybe for the first time, we have the chance to breathe free. But that's all behind us now. And now suddenly we face the wilderness and we step into the unknown. And this is the part of the journey that we begin counting now. And it actually is the majority of the story we tell. The Exodus is just a moment in our history, in our experience. But the wandering through the wilderness, that takes 40 years. That's actually most of the story. And the reality is that most of our lives are spent in the wilderness, in the flux, in the in-between, in the transition, facing uncertainty. And the Exodus moments are real and they're important, but they're also rare. And so our tradition gives us tools to navigate the wilderness, knowing that that's actually where we're going to spend most of our time. And we're doing some of those tonight, coming together as a community, being present, like really present, like putting those phones away and even maybe putting the book down and just breathing and being here. And praying. And praying, I believe, is a way of turning our attention to the things that matter, and in this moment, to the people and the places in the world that need a little extra help, a little extra compassion, a little extra care and concern, especially when things are feeling hard or feeling uncertain. And generally, I gotta say, things are feeling really hard and very uncertain right now. We're deep in the wilderness. And as we look around, we notice those who might need just that extra care or support as we navigate this journey together. And perhaps that's somebody who's close to you. Perhaps that's somebody who's far away who you don't even know. Maybe that person is even yourself. But when we're stuck in a wilderness like this, I think that we look around and see so many people who are lonely or who are in pain or who are afraid, and it can be tempting to triage our concern, right? We might ask ourselves, do I really actually deserve this attention and care? Do the people in my life really have it as bad as other people? And it's beginning to compare ourselves, right, to those around us and say, well, maybe I actually don't deserve this prayer right now. But that's not what this part of the service is. Right? We come to this space and we say, no, we actually have the time. We have the space. It is Shabbat to name each and every one of those people and those places, including ourselves, no matter how big or how small the challenges they face, whether it's heartbreak or just a hard moment. Whether it's a debilitating and dangerous illness or if it's the common cold. Whether it's something that's annoying or something that's devastating, that actually each and every person that we can think of deserves this moment of attention, that we have the capacity, the capaciousness within ourselves to take all of that in, that our hearts are actually resilient enough when we give ourselves the space to recognize that. And so I want you to take this moment, and whether you say it to the person next to you, or just say it aloud in this room, or just list those people and those places in your heart, I want you to name all of them. Seriously, take a moment. Begin naming them in this space. We have the time to do that. And this is a lesson to remember. We also deserve it as well. The only way that we're going to get through this is together. All of us helping lift and support each other on this journey. On page 19.
Toward the bottom. It says, "Shmort seitenu uvoinu." Guard our goings and our comings for life and for peace.
Shmort seitenu
Amen.
בחייכון ויומכון, וחי זכו בית ישראל, בעגלה בזמן קריב ואמרו אמן.
יהי שמי רבה מבורך, לעולם ולעולמיה.
יתברך וישתבח ויפאר וירמג וינשא, ויהדע ויתעלה ויתהלל, שמי דקודשה ברכו. לאלה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תשבחתה ונחמתה, דמירם בעלמה ואמרו And take a moment for personal silent prayer. You can use the words the Amidah, which begin on page 21 and extend through page 28, 27, 28. Or you can put the Siddur down and use this time for your own prayer, or even just to breathe. The tradition is to take 3 small steps backwards, 3 small steps forward, entering a space all of your own. When you feel that your prayer is complete, you can be seated.
For those of you who just came tonight because you were expecting to hear Jeremy, so now finally, we're getting to that part. But I have to tell you, we really adhere to the adage, the community that prays together stays together, you know? Like there's something that happens in a room full of people when you sing for a long time. It opens us up and we talk to each other, you hear each other's gratitude, and it makes it so much more possible, I think, to encounter ideas and, you know, perspectives that might not be your own, in the same way that harmony enriches a song. Perspective does that for us as well. And so for everybody who was coming tonight just to hear our conversation, and mostly Jeremy, so I'm so glad you were here for the first hour. And for everybody who came for the music and you're like, oh God, politics, really? Don't I get enough of this in my life? Hopefully, this will feel very different than, the conversations you're listening to on Ezra Klein or Pod Save America or whatever is your podcast of choice that's delivering the horrors of the day. So this is a little bit of background. In the summer of 2022, Mishkan did what I hope will be our first trip, but so far our only trip to Israel and the West Bank, and Deb helped us plan it. And we really did travel from south to north and east to west. We didn't go as far south as Eilat, but we did go as far north as the Lebanon border. And we went from the literal river to the literal sea. And while we were up at the Lebanon border, we saw the tunnel that Hezbollah dug underneath the border to kidnap people on the Israeli side with and spirit them back underground to Lebanon. And while we were in the West Bank, we saw and traveled on roads that were for Jews only and went through checkpoints easily that Palestinians were standing in for hours. We talked to intelligence experts who were sharing the real terrors that Iran, and this was in 2022, was visiting upon Israeli civilians, whether through missiles or through proxies, whether Hamas or Hezbollah. And we sort of looked up close at the deep discomfort and immorality that occupation just inherently contains. And we danced at beautiful Shabbats, and we ate amazing Israeli and Palestinian food, and it was an intense and beautiful trip. And some of you in this room were on that trip. And Lance Friedman over here, at the end of the trip, said, look, this is a place I love and care deeply about, but I don't know where is the political home for somebody like me who sees this place and the nuance that it has, and recognizes that this country, it should exist, but that existence can't be contingent upon occupying another people, for example. And so many other sort of the both and of what it means to be in a relationship with Israel. He said, is there a political home for somebody like me? And I was so happy to be able to say, indeed, I sit on the rabbinic cabinet of such a home. It is called J Street. And so, Jeremy, come on up here, because if you haven't heard of J Street, it has not been around as long as AIPAC, which is the other pro-Israel lobby. And J Street came into existence because actually that wasn't cutting it for a lot of American Jews. And so I actually feel like what I want to do is stop talking and ask the occasional question, but mostly understand from you, Jeremy, fellow founder, actually, fellow founder of an organization. J Street's a little bit older than Mishkan. J Street was founded in 2008, if I'm not mistaken. Mishkan was founded in 2011. Is that right? Yes, that's right. And when you found an organization, it's because you have realized that there is a problem with the status quo, and you are content neither to opt out and say, whatever, I don't love the way it is, but I just won't pay attention, or I opt out, I divest of my interest in this, or I can live with it. I can live with the way it is. It's fine. A founder says, in the presence of a status quo I can't deal with, I will create something else. So what was the status quo back in 2008 of the state of kind of the relationship, the American-Jewish relationship with Israel, and what was the problem with it? And why did you create this organization?
Well, first of all, let me just say thank you very much to Rabbi Lizzie and to Mishkan. This is a beautiful, beautiful evening. And somebody who I was sitting near asked me if I'm used to this kind of an avirah, to this kind of an atmosphere on a Shabbat. And I said it takes me back to a place in Jerusalem that I called my home when I lived there. Some of you may know Kol HaNeshama. And it's one of my favorite things in the entire world to go to Friday night service at Kol HaNeshama. And the Neshama of this room brings me back to the feeling of Jerusalem on Shabbat night. So thank you for that. And thank you for the question. which gives me a chance to say a word about why we started J Street. And it really is to fill a vacuum. And in the beginning of the 21st century, in the early 2000s, there was really only one voice from the American Jewish community saying what it meant to be pro-Israel. And that was in the policy space, it was in the political space, it was in the Jewish community, and that voice said to be pro-Israel, you have to support the government of Israel. And Israel itself is going through a lot. It has real enemies, it has real problems, and the role of Jews around the world is to support the state and the people and the government of Israel. And that's it. Don't ask questions, don't criticize. If you stand up too loudly and say something that's not appropriate, because we don't live there and we don't have a right to do that. And that really was the model of American relationship, the American Jewish relationship with Israel for decades and decades after the founding of the state. And I understand that, and I'm sure many of you do as well, that Israel was founded and it was a miracle that it survived after the horrors of World War II. And many of us have family who know that horror. Many of us have family who were involved in starting the state. And in the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, Israel faced enormous challenge and war after war in a neighborhood that wanted to drive it into the sea. And the American Jewish response, which was appropriate, was let's join hands together and let's do everything we can to ensure that this critical state survives. And that was the model of American Jewish advocacy for Israel. Then Israel evolved, and in the 70s, 80s, 90s, into the 21st century, it became a regional, if not a global, in the opinion of the Prime Minister, military superpower, and developed a first world economy, and became strong, and won a number of wars, and took over a lot of land, and took over a lot of people with that land. And something fundamental began to change in the nature of the state of Israel and its challenges. The challenge was no longer to survive attacks from enemy nations. The challenge was to figure out, what do we do with the fact that there are 7.5 million Jews and 7.5 million non-Jews living in the same land. And in order to be a Jewish and a democratic state, we either have to give full rights to all 15 million people so that it's a democracy, or we're going to lose our democracy in order to keep our Jewish power. And the choice between being a Jewish state and a democratic state became a fundamental choice. And under the leadership of the right wing, under the leadership of Netanyahu, over the course of these years, we have seen the state move further and further to the right. And for many American Jews, some of the policies and the actions of the government of Israel were no longer supportable. And it became very hard to abide by a U.S.-Israel, Israeli-Jewish relationship that said the only way to support Israel is to support Israel right or wrong. And many of us said 20 years ago now, 25 years ago, we care so deeply about Israel. My great-grandparents were in the first Aliyah in 1882. My grandparents founded Tel Aviv. My father was in the Irgun. He fought in 1948. I've lived in Israel. I started a business in Israel. All of us involved in J Street are involved in it because we care about Israel. But we are deeply concerned about the direction that this government is taking Israel today, that it's no longer the Israel that we grew up knowing. It's an Israel that is endangering its own future security. It's an Israel that is acting not in accordance with the values on which we were raised, and that I'm sure in this congregation are very central to who you are. You don't treat other people the way you don't want to be treated yourself. The lessons of Passover that we just taught about oppression and freedom and the need to fight for freedom for people everywhere. Well, what if we're the people doing the oppressing? And so J Street was born out of a belief that you can be pro-Israel, you can support the state and the people of Israel, and stand up and say, no, I don't agree with Bibi Netanyahu, Itamar Ben-Gvir, Bezalel Smotrich, the occupation, the settlements, and the things that were done in the Gaza war. And these are pro-Israel positions. This is not anti-Israel. You do not have to be anti-Palestinian to be pro-Israel. You don't have to be pro-Palestinian to be anti-Israel. There has to be an and, a both and. I think you were saying that earlier. J Street is pro-Israel and pro-Palestinian. We are pro-peace. We are pro-democracy. And that voice was missing 20 years ago. And today we feel J Street is grabbing the center space in the American Jewish community. We are not the group that is anti-Israel and doesn't believe there should be an Israel. There's a very strong, growing anti-Zionist streak within the Jewish community that doesn't believe that this is good for the Jewish people. And then there's another part of the Jewish community that doesn't believe the Palestinian people exist or have rights or should have a state just like the Jewish people. We're the group in the middle. That's who J Street is, and that's the vacuum we were looking to fill.
Thank you. Can you share about what the 5 principles are that you founded the organization based on, and how adhering to them has evolved, you know, as the situation in the world has evolved? Like, the Israel of 20 years ago wasn't the Israel that you grew up with, but the Israel of 20 years ago is actually a very different Israel from the Israel of right now. And so you founded the organization with like 5 principles.
Yeah.
Can you share what those principles are and how they show up, and specifically how they're showing up now?
So the great thing about principles is that they don't change, right? And what changes is the circumstances around you. I always liken this to navigating. You know, the stars are there. You know the stars, but you're, you know, encountering winds and shifting tides and all sorts of things happen to you as you're navigating a boat, but your North Star doesn't change, right? And you know where you're going. Principle number 1, we believe that there should be a state of Israel that is the national home of the Jewish people, and that national home is appropriately in the land of Israel, which is the land of our ancestors. So that's principle number 1. Principle number 2, we believe the exact same thing for the Palestinian people. We believe that the Palestinian people, too, have a right to national self-determination. It's very, very, very tragic that it's in the exact same geographic area. And that's the root of the conflict. And if Israel is going to be secure for the long run, if it's going to be democratic, if it's going to be Jewish, then there needs to be a state of Palestine. So that's our second core principle. Third core principle gets at what I was saying earlier about being pro-Israel. What does it mean to be pro-Israel? And we said it in 2008. We still say it today. You can be pro-Israel and disagree with the government of Israel. Fourth core principle is that what I just outlined for you causes a lot of argument in the American Jewish community. And so our fourth principle is that argument is good. That argument is healthy. One of the most dysfunctional things about the American Jewish community is our effort to shut down debate and discourse and dissent. And that when people stand up and they say, I don't agree, or I want to represent a different voice, they're told that there isn't room for them in the tent. And that is not good for the Jewish people. So our fourth core principle is we're going to stand up for the principle of free speech and for open discourse. And so much of what we're seeing happen today in the name of fighting anti-Semitism is shutting down free speech and shutting down discourse. It's so antithetical to who we are as a people. If we're one thing for sure, we are argumentative, right? It is the core of how you learn, right? It's the core of how you teach in the Jewish tradition, is to have the argument and preserve both sides of the debate. So that's our fourth key principle. And the fifth principle is the values that give us our identity, the values on which you're raising your children, the values on which I'm sure the children in this community are being raised, to pursue justice, to believe in the equality of all, to not treat other people the way you wouldn't want to be treated yourself. Those are the values that we strive to live up to and to put into the world on behalf of the Jewish people. Then the state of the Jewish people has to be held to the exact same values and to the exact same standard. If we're holding our country, if we're holding other countries to that standard, we have to hold Israel to that same standard. Maybe even more so, because it is the state of the Jewish people, and these are the Jewish values and the Jewish standards. And those 5 principles were on our website on day 1, and it makes me really proud that as we hit 18, we hit adulthood, that those 5 principles are still unchanged, the same 5 principles on our website today, because that's what guides us.
I'm tempted to go in one of 2 directions, because one direction is to take you up on your invitation to feisty discourse.
Please. That'll wake everybody up.
Well, I have 2 different, a question from over here and a question from over here. The question from over here is from the Jewish non or anti-Zionist that says, look at the troubles that the Jewish state has created for Jews internationally. Israel gets into a war, whether it's a war it asked for or not, anti-Semitism rises. Bibi Netanyahu does a thing, anti-Semitism rises. So, how is this good for us? So that's, on the one hand, why at this point in history are we not just trying to do 15 million people in one big democratic state? Why are we not trying to do that? Why is J Street not actually trying to do that? And then on the other side, isn't it very naive to imagine that through such liberal values as justice and equality and democracy, you can protect this tiny little fragile, only Jewish state amid a sea of countries that surround it that would prefer it not to be there? Isn't it naive to imagine that we can, with those good American values, or what were American values until very recently, protect and keep the Jewish state safe?
So, to respond to the non-Zionist or...
Of whom there are, in this room and in
Right.
every room you speak, right? Yeah.
So there were 2 different parts to your question. One was, are the Jewish people worse off globally because Israel exists the way it exists and what it's doing? Is the fact of it increasing anti-Semitism? And let's start with the fact that anti-Semitism is there. It is ages old. It is not going anywhere. I think everybody in this room probably has a story, a family story that is rooted in some horror that has been done to our people over the course of the centuries. And so to believe that somehow that but for Israel there wouldn't be anti-Semitism, I believe is naive and wrong-headed. I think it would be analytically dishonest to say that there isn't additional problems, additional sores for the Jewish people as a result of what Bibi Netanyahu and these people are doing. I think it is ratcheting up. It is pouring extra accelerant on the flame that's already there of anti-Semitism, but it's not the reason for the anti-Semitism. The second part of that question was, wouldn't we be better off if there was just one state for 15 million people? So that gives me a transition to the second question. There are those who say that the idea that you will ever draw a border and have a second state in the land between the river and the sea, that those people are naive, that those of us who believe that's the answer, that that's naive. I say the only thing less realistic than the thought there will be a second state is the thought that there will ever be only one state with equal rights for all people. That will never happen.
Why?
Because the people of Israel, the Jewish people, are not going to vote out of existence a Jewish state. It isn't going to happen. As much as we would love for us to imagine that there could be one wonderful, glowing democracy of equality between the river and the sea for all the people there, they hate each other. We have to be honest. The hatred that we as the Jewish people feel at times, look at October 7th, the hatred, there is hatred from the Jewish people towards the Palestinian people. These 2 peoples now have killed each other for 100 years. And the hatred is real. And they're not going to suddenly just put down their weapons and say, oh, let's just all live together peacefully. No, that's not going to happen. And the Jewish people are not going to go to the Knesset and vote the state of Israel out of existence and give everybody equal rights. So that's the only thing less likely than drawing a line, building a nice, solid fence and border along that line and saying, your state's here and our state's here. Neither one of them looks particularly likely today, but I don't think I could even imagine the idea of that one state ever becoming a reality, as sad as that is. So that's the answer that I would give to the people from the left. Now, the question from the other side. There has never been a greater moment of opportunity for the state of Israel than today. The neighboring states are ready to normalize relations with Israel. Even Lebanon is offering to sit down and talk. Syria is offering to sit down and talk. We're on the verge of seeing normalization between Saudi Arabia and Israel. We've seen it with the UAE and Bahrain. The entirety of the Arab world, through the Arab League, has had an offer of peace on the table for 25 years called the Arab Peace Initiative. It's something that our parents and grandparents could never have imagined. The founders of the state of Israel in 1948 could not have imagined, as the armies were gathering on their borders to push them into the sea, they couldn't have imagined that the day would come when the Arab world wants to normalize relations with Israel. The only thing the Arab world is asking of the people of Israel and of the Jewish people is there has to be a state for the Palestinian people too. Not instead of, but next to. There's 22 states in the Arab League. One of those states is called Palestine. Those 22 states want to make peace with Israel. We call that the 23-state solution. We're not talking about a two-state solution anymore. We're talking about an entirely regional, comprehensive agreement to normalize relations with Israel. And that isn't naive. That's what the Arab world wants. It's what the founders of the State of Israel wanted. It's what all of us should want. It's what the whole world wants. They want us to stop killing each other. And this is available if we had a government of Israel that wasn't messianic, that wasn't bent on river to the sea domination, that didn't believe in greater Israel, that actually was willing to sit down and talk about the creation over time of a viable, well-run, developed Palestinian state that the neighbors are willing to invest in. Billions and billions and billions of dollars have been offered if only Israel will say, we agree to the creation of a Palestinian state. And so I don't think it's naive. I think this is the only way for Israel to be secure. It's the only way for Israel to remain legitimate in the eyes not only of the world, but of our own Jewish community. Look at the numbers in the polls and look at the view of the next generation. The legitimacy of Israel is sinking with every day, not only in this country, but around the world. And so this isn't naive. This is self-preservation to pursue this strategy. This is how you get security, not through bombing Lebanon, not through destroying Gaza, not through bombing Tehran. You get security by reaching an agreement with your neighbors.
Thank you. We'll just do a couple more questions now, and then for folks who want to keep talking or challenging, upstairs after services will be the same spread of food that we have downstairs, but Jeremy will be upstairs and will host a conversation for those who want to continue it. The conversation that we're having right now, I feel like we could have had this conversation 5 or 10 years ago, and everything you're saying would still be true. What has changed since October 7th and since, everything that has happened since October 7th, and specifically for American policy? And I guess the way that I want to ask this to you is the way that you're speaking is the way I feel like I hear a lot of American Jews speak, which is in the we, using we interchangeably to talk about Israel and American Jews. And it actually has never felt more clear to me that that is conceptually, yes, we're all members of the Jewish people, but very often, they're making different decisions than I would make. They're making different votes than I would make. It does feel like a different collective, we have different collective priorities. They're moving further to the right, we're moving further to the left. So it's a little bit of a painting with too broad a brush to just say we, like we all share the same values and we don't, clearly. So J Street operates in the realm of American policy, and J Street lobbyists talk to legislators. I had the privilege of going on a legislative, what do you call it, visit?
Lobby day.
Lobby day, where I went and talked to some Illinois legislators with Lance and other folks here in this room. And it was really extraordinary how much seriousness and interest these lawmakers and their aides give to J Street's research, policy recommendations. They appreciate so much, clearly they appreciate so much that there is not only one voice speaking about what is good for Israel and what should be American policy vis-a-vis Israel. They really appear to appreciate the multivocality that J Street provides and the idea that there is another perspective, sometimes the opposite perspective. And so it must be confusing for them because you have this organization over here saying this is what pro-Israel is. You have, J Street actually saying, the thing that the Israeli government wants right now, actually, we advise against it. We advise America not,
Go to war with Iran.
Go to war with Iran, for example. So what I want to know is, in terms of policy, especially post-October 7th, what are the kinds of recommendations that J Street has been making? Like, what have you been standing for?
Well, I think one of the things that has made it possible for the Israeli right under Netanyahu to go where it has gone has been that there's been no consequence from the United States for the things that it has done. We have written a blank check. We provide money no matter what. Even if we have laws that say recipients of our aid shouldn't do X and Y and Z, Israel does X or Y or Z and it still gets the money. So first thing we can do is we can actually enforce the law. So if our law says we shouldn't give money to a country that's blocking humanitarian aid in a war zone, then we should not give money to a country that's blocking humanitarian aid in a war zone. That would be a starting point, right, to enforce our actual laws. The other thing that we do all the time is we provide what I call diplomatic immunity. We provide cover in every international setting for Israel. Any attack on Israel, the United States till now has stood up and said, no, you can't do that. You can't condemn Israel in the Security Council. You can't bring them in front of the International Court. Anything that you're doing, you shouldn't be doing it because it's Israel. So why is it that the United States protects Israel in this way, writing them a blank check that nobody else gets and providing diplomatic immunity that nobody else gets? Our view is our relationship with Israel needs to be normalized. We need to treat Israel like every other country. And if Israel is acting in ways that go against our values and go against our interests, then it's time to stop providing the blank check. It is time to stop providing diplomatic immunity. So that is a very significant shift. We happen to think it would be a very good thing for Israel if Israel faced consequences for what it's doing. And if it actually had to consider, well, maybe if we stand back and allow settlers to burn olive groves, if we're going to result of that is we're going to get sanctioned by international courts, we're going to lose American assistance, we're not going to be able to buy American weapons, then maybe we should actually send the army in and stop these terrorists from destroying Palestinian villages. So, these are, and I think we're getting more and more to the point where time is running out. The big difference from 5 years, 10 years, 15 years ago is how far we've let this go. We are so close to the edge.
And who's the we?
We as American Jews. American Jews, it is on us. We have lobbied. We have set up a system in this country politically that says to politicians, don't cross a certain line, don't criticize, don't put conditions on aid, don't do anything that limits this because you will suffer a political consequence. I don't know how political you want me to get here, but
Anything that you say, people already know.
Excellent. All right. it's not just the policies of the government of Israel, it's the political tactics of groups like AIPAC, right? It is the combination of the two that are causing the problem. And if we try as a Jewish community, as an American Jewish community, to impose on the American political system a no questions asked relationship with Israel, that is going to backfire not just on Israel, but on the American Jewish community. And I think that's really important. This is why we have such a stake in this. And it is really important. And it's not just about AIPAC and Congress. It's about the way we approach universities. And we say to them, if you don't shut down this student group, if you don't fire this professor, if you don't kick out this student, then you're going to lose that $100 million I was going to give you for a dorm, right? Or we get the government to come in and say you're going to lose your cancer research funding if you don't shut down this encampment. And to throw around money and power to shut down criticism of Israel is not good for the Jewish people. It is not good for our future in this country.
I imagine that people have many more questions, and so we're not going to be done here. I will ask you one last question, which is, everyone agrees, anyone, in this space from far left to far right, that like we're not in a great place.
So we found common ground.
Yeah, right. Everybody can agree on that. We're not in a great place, and discussions of peace, permanent solutions that help everyone begin to heal and rebuild, that those feel very far off. Sally Abed, who I'm sure you know and have heard speak, she was asked this question here in this room, actually, a couple years ago. They were here, and somebody said, what do you think is the answer to, one state, two states? And she said, you know what, you Americans sitting around with your, one state, two state, actually, we're so far from that conversation, she said. You know what we're talking about? We're talking about minimum wage. We're talking about just getting Israelis and Palestinians a good minimum wage. We're talking about, just having, being able to ride the bus and not get harassed, and she said, come visit us and see the day to day, and you'll stop asking all these big pie in the sky questions from your safe distance of this far away. You'll stop doing boycotting that actually hurts us. And she said, come and visit and see how it goes. But from this far distance, we really just have the headlines. We have the news that we're fed, for those of us that includes maybe 2 or 3 newspapers and, perspectives. But it's hard to get into the daily, sort of the beauty of the day to day, the beautiful mess of the day to day. We kind of were forced to talk in these big categories, one state, two, policy stuff. But I wonder, you live in this world. What keeps you hopeful that the work you are doing matters, that it will make a difference?
So I think that the work that we all do matters not because it will necessarily solve the Israeli-Palestinian conflict and bring peace to the Middle East. That to me isn't the standard. The standard is, are we acting out in real life the values that we pray about and that we teach our kids? And success for me is that people feel that they have a place that they can go to tell their elected officials and policymakers, this is how our country should act, that we are able to weigh in the political system in support of people who are going to stand up for those values, and that we're going to work in our own Jewish community with our own institutions to hold them accountable here at home for living up to the values that they say they stand for. And what gives me hope is how many people are willing to stand up and fight for those values. And success for me is holding ourselves accountable to acting in accordance with the values we say we believe. And I think we're doing that at J Street, and I feel really good, and I think we've created a great community that was on the fringes of American Jewish life when it started and was regarded as an upstart and outsider.
We don't know what that's like.
Right. But today, J Street is in the center of the American Jewish community, and the values and the positions that we hold are attacked from the right and from the left and represent the middle, the moderate middle of our community. And I feel really good about that. And we are growing, and we've doubled in size in 4 years. And I feel very hopeful that a voice of reason grounded in values, standing up to extremism, whether it's Trump or Bibi, whether it's extremism on the right or on the left, that we represent what I think are the grounded values of our community and putting them into action.
Let's give Jeremy a round of applause, and thank you. Thank you. All right. The conversation continues upstairs, and whether or not you go upstairs, there are these little cards outside with a QR code should you be interested in like a Chicago Zoom for people who want to learn more and get more involved. I want to invite us to stand to sing ourselves out of this service. Something a teacher told me a couple years ago in Jerusalem was that in the 90s, they sang peace songs because Oslo was happening and there was a real belief that peace was possible. And he said, nobody sings peace songs anymore in Israel. And I thought that was awfully sad. It just feels so far away. That's, kind of everybody, it just feels so far away. And so I think it's incumbent on us, those of us who actually are far away, to be able to hope and pray and remember that war is not inevitable and doesn't have to be, that peace can be. And that can be what we pray for and what we work towards. Od yavo shalom aleinu. Od yavo shalom aleinu. Od yavo shalom aleinu. Ve'al kulam. It's on your song sheet in the book. Od yavo shalom aleinu. Od yavo shalom aleinu. Od yavo shalom aleinu. Ve'al kulam. Salam. Aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam. Salam. Salam.
of somebody either on the anniversary of their passing, a yahrzeit, or if they've died recently, if we're observing Shiva, Shloshim for the year. Just take a moment. We'll go around the room and bring their names, their memories into the space. Behind you.
Carter Nash, Quaker Peace Activist.
Any other names? Other memories be for a blessing. We are on page 34 for Kadisha Ton, the Mourner's Kaddish. Yitzgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabam be'alma divrach irutei ve'amlich malchutei b'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael ba'agala uvizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabam mevarach le'olam omei almayam. Yitbarach v'ishtabach v'itpa'ar v'itroman v'itnaseh Vit hadar, vit ale, vit halal, shemei tekudisha brichu. La'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'miran be'alma v'imru, amen. Yehei shlam rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, Val kol yoshvei tevel, v'imru, amen. Yehi zichronam livracha. May their memories be blessings. Thank you.
We have a lot of thank yous tonight. Amy Schuster left, but Amy was in charge of the Gift of Life table in the back that I hope that while everybody was all stuck outside before we opened the doors, I hope that some of you got a chance to do a little cheek swab. Gift of Life is an organization that does donor matching for stem cell and platelet and bone marrow donation, especially in the Jewish and Ashkenazi descendant world. You're more likely to find a match. However, matches are everywhere, and so whatever your background is, if they left the stuff out there, it's pretty simple. You just like fill out the little card, stick a toothpick in your cheek, and then stick it in the envelope.
You swab your cheek. You're not
Okay,
sticking a toothpick in your cheek. There's no drawing of blood. It's very comfortable.
Q-tip, sorry, that was the word I was looking for. It should be still out there, but if it's not still out there. But she's coming back next on a future Friday, right? Okay, so she'll be back next Friday, same table, same Q-tip. I mean, not used. Okay, whatever. You know what I mean. All right. If anybody knows Amy Schuster, let her know we gave her a big shout out. Thank you to Lance for organizing tonight, the pre-thing, and bringing Jeremy here. And thank you finally to Ari Levine, who's double high birthday is the reason why they sponsored Kiddush tonight. So thank you. Mazel tov. We're so happy about that and so happy about you. And so speaking of counting, actually, we must count the day between Passover and Shavuot, which is called the Omer. On the back side of the little sheet you have in your book, there's a commandment from the Bible that says you're supposed to count the days between Passover and Shavuot. Last night we counted 8. And so I'll invite everyone to say this blessing with me. And then I guess because there are a bunch of blank spaces here, because I wanted this sheet to be usable in future weeks, you could just repeat after me. And I will reveal the night that it is in Hebrew and in English. All right, let's do this together. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al sfirat haomer. Hayom Tisha Yamim Shehem Shavua Echat V'shtei Yamim La'omer. Today is the 9th day of the Omer.
Today is the 9th day of the Omer.
Which is 1 week and 2 days of the Omer.
Which is 1 week and 2 days the Omer.
Very good. Okay, we've done it. All right, now let's bless wine and bless bread and break bread and drink wine and go have more heady conversations upstairs. There will also be food downstairs. And for people who want to stick around and sing, we have to sing Indigo Girls after the service is over because this week in the Torah portion is the Strange Fire Week. And if that doesn't mean anything to you, don't worry about it. But if it does, come and sing. All right. For those who want to join us, page 30, we rise. We rise, we rise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kishanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava u'ratzon hinchilanu zikaro lema'aseh b'reshit ki hu yom tehillah l'mikra'ei kodesh zecher letziat Mitzrayim kivanu b'charta ve'otanu kidashtaim kol ha'amim b'shabbat kodshecha ve'ahava u'ratzon hinchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh ha'Shabbat l'chaim. 1, 2, 3, whoosh! Sometimes there's someone in the crowd who brings a gluten-free loaf. Is there anybody who did that tonight?
Gail did not come.
No, okay. Your wife did not come. She's the one. All right. So, whatever. Gluten-free treats are out there. It's not challah, though. Don't eat the challah if you're gluten-free.
Reach your hand towards somebody who's reaching their hand to somebody who is reaching their hand towards
Share a little bit of love.
To recognize all the hands that went to making this food and all the food we're going to enjoy tonight. And we'll bless this bread together.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem haaretz. Amen. Tavo and Michael, you send yours that way. They'll send theirs that way. You send yours that way.
Send it this way. Did you get one?
Oh, God bless. Just follow. Good Shabbos! Let's see. Oh, say.